Hello, I'm David DeCosmo. Welcome to ECTV Live. I'm joined by my co-host, Rusty Fender. Rusty?
It's been a while. Good to see you.
Yeah, I just made a guest appearance on the last program.
Yes, you did. They rolled you in on the last show, so that was literally.
It was a very, very interesting appearance.
I know you like to make a big entrance, but that one's tough to top.
That was a tough one. That was like crashing a wedding. I don't know. Our guest today is Clay Lecoux, and Clay is with the Scranton Farmers Market. I brought him in primarily because we're coming up on Farmers Market Week. Now, there are farmers markets obviously across the country, certainly across Pennsylvania, and we want to talk about the value of all of them and how they do serve the community. But Scranton's Farmers Market is unique, isn't it, Clay?
Yes, it's a cooperative market owned by the farmers. It's located in Scranton. We're celebrating our 80th year this year.
80 years.
That's what I thought. I saw that advertised. 80 years.
1939.
Amazing.
It was on Mifflin Avenue. And they formed a cooperative, and then it moved down to where the Memorial Stadium is now. And in 1949, they built the existing market now on LaWall Street, where the old circus grounds were. And
yeah, they used to bring the circus into town there. The old Big Top was set up in that same area.
We have two sides that are covered and a walkway in between, and we're enjoying another good season. So,
and you actually opened before a lot of the other markets that we see, and when we say being a cooperative, I think most of the markets we see. For instance, on Public Square in Wilkes-Barre might be a good example, where the city opens up the square for the market, and then various farmers just come in and set up.
Correct.
And they certainly have good products, just as anyone else, but they don't actually work with one another in making the thing happen.
That's right.
Whereas you folks, practically your own corporation.
Yeah, it's a concerted effort here in Scranton.
Yeah, we own the property, and the farmers have the cooperative, and
what's the benefit of cooperative?
I think we can generate the fact that we produce our own stuff. Everything that's sold at our market is grown locally by the members of the market, as opposed to some buy and sell, where this time of year you might be able to get corn from Jersey or Lancaster.
Right.
Right now, corn is just starting in our market. About 3 of our members do have it. Tomatoes are on their way, a few tomatoes, not many. But we opened July 17th, and we'll go until the night before Thanksgiving, that Wednesday in November.
And there's nothing like getting, you mentioned that corn, for instance, has been coming in from other areas for a while now. And it's good, but boy, there's nothing like getting the corn out of the field, putting it in the truck, bringing it down to the market, and buying it that same day, maybe hours after it was picked.
And you can tell produce that isn't from this area. Like one of my first jobs with the A&P supermarkets, and I worked produce for a while.
Right.
And this time of the year, you get a lot of lettuce from New Jersey. And you could tell because you turn those heads of lettuce over into sand, because everything in sand would come out. It required scrubbing and soaking to get it. You don't have that with local produce. Yeah, New Jersey lettuce, which is big at this time of the year. A lot of preparation work where you don't have it with the local produce and crops of this area. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Now, we pride ourselves with the fact that the corn especially is picked that morning, and brought right to market, and you can tell the difference.
Oh, absolutely.
If it's any fresher, it's still on the vine, right?
You also operate several days, do you not?
Yes, we're open 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. From noon until 6 are our advertised hours.
Or when you're sold out, I guess, in some cases.
Yeah, we do. Personally, I'm there about 10:30. Most farmers back in about 10:30. Give us time to unload. We have no bell or sign that says you cannot buy before noon. And a lot of our customers start coming around 11:30. And our busiest time is probably from noon until 3:30. And then we do have a after-work crowd, but the original market was a farmer's night market.
Oh.
But over the years, it has just become earlier and earlier because the original members had usually a couple of cows to milk, and they did that, and
Farm
before
duties.
they brought the load to Scranton, to our market. I can remember when I was a youngster, which was many years ago, the hours were 5 until 10.
Ah.
And now over the years, it's really a interesting thing that's happened. The busiest time now is midday.
Wow.
You know.
Now, you touched on something that makes me want to ask a question, because often our first program of the year is with Dave Williams, who, of course, is a farm broadcaster and has a farm, I believe, in
He's in
Wayne County, I
Honesdale.
think, maybe
Yeah,
in the
Honesdale area.
Honesdale
Yeah.
area. And I often had asked him, because he usually comes on to promote the farm show in Harrisburg, and I often ask him about the state of agriculture and how we're doing, and you know, I learned it is still the biggest industry in Pennsylvania. But now you say everybody that's coming to the market are local growers, and very frankly, I don't think of Scranton as being a farm community. So, so where are the farms?
Well, originally, the Clark Summit, Abington area, Newton Ransom area was the birthplace of most of our original members.
All right.
And you're right, over the years, the farming community has dwindled to
Yeah.
probably half of our members are from that area now, but we have a member from Columbia County, a couple from Luzerne County, one from Susquehanna County, and Wyoming County. So we have had to broaden our scope of membership,
Sure.
but we are still able to get all but 40 of we have 40 stalls, and all but 3 of them are occupied by viable farmers.
Well, now that you mention it, there was a time when I would take a drive, quote, in the country, and you would see farm after farm after farm, and then we lost a lot of those to housing developments. We lost a lot of dairy farmers because of the
milk regulation.
the problems that
Absolutely.
they face. I mean, that's unbelievable.
That is
The
unbelievable.
Cows produce the milk whether you're buying it or
I
not.
know.
And these guys have
to
feed
sell
it.
under
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you're. That's terrible.
That I can't imagine some of them have lasted even this long. But now that I think of it, if I drive up Wyoming Avenue in Luzerne County from, let's say, the Kingston area up through West Pittston, there are cornfields on the over near the riverside.
Correct.
And the same would be true on, I guess it would be Jenkins Township on the other side. So maybe they're not all, quote, out there in the woods or out there in the country.
No.
But there are the farms scattered here and there.
And that's in a populated area because it's just down the hill to the Susquehanna River.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
In West
yeah.
Pittston, Exeter.
Sure.
Yeah.
There have been many hidden acres along the
That's a
Susquehanna.
good term, hidden acres.
And
Yeah.
I know a few of those active farms there. Most of them are selling their retail and wholesale stuff in Pittston or the Wilkes-Barre market.
Right, okay.
We do have a young man who just is joining our market from Plains this year, and he's operating a vegetable farm. Along Wyoming Avenue, a lot of that corn you see is being produced by a man from Newton Township who rents a lot of acres. It is not sweet corn, it's corn for
Feed
fodder.
corn, okay.
And,
So do you then have a lot of the members that maybe don't own all the land on which they're farming, but rather rent it necessarily?
no,
or-
I would think most of our farmers that are growing produce own their property. And there are few of us, but we're still viable
Okay.
and still producing. The problem is getting new members. It's very difficult, especially when we're open 3 days a week.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Because you have to commit to that time.
requires having a load of produce that you pick every other day.
Right.
And it's not like some of the markets, which are good markets, but they're operating 1 day a week.
Well, now, do the members of the cooperative vend their product solely at the market?
Most of them. There are
Oh.
a couple that are involved in these other day markets that are bigger than, say, myself. I
Right.
mean, I'm operating on only about 15 or 16 acres on a 140-acre farm for produce. The rest is just held over and rotated.
So that's your main outlet for revenue is just the farmer's market,
The
correct?
farmer's
I see.
market. But, I mean, it's a family tradition. My sister and I are personally involved in the farm, but my grandparents and my father were the farmers.
Yeah.
I had another career and I helped, but I continued after I retired to have this
now
second
you're the
job,
farmer.
which is, you know, I don't know.
Well, it's nice to have a
it's
family
fun thing.
business too. It's it's
Yeah.
the most work ever, but it's nice to have a family business to fall back on instead of applying for a job when you retire from a career, let's face
Yeah.
it.
Well, we had you know, you grew up with it and you hate to see the farm not occupied. We don't intend to sell it for housing, although the farms around us we have 2 farms next to us that are occupied by probably 30 homes.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's a
But
tough
that's-
thing when it's tough when you've got to put all the money into growing a crop, and then you can't sell that crop for much more than you put into it. Then you can see where the temptation
You're
comes
right.
along.
And then big business comes in and says, look, we want your farm. And you say, well, no, this has been in the family for 3 generations. They say, well, I'll give you
Yeah.
10 times what it's worth. And you say, sold.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a tough decision between nostalgia and sustainability.
Sure.
Yeah?
But now I know from the markets, and I'm from Luzerne County, and I know from the markets in our area, there's no shortage of customers. So apparently, wherever your farm is, if you're involved in a farmer's market, it's a pretty good opportunity to sell your goods.
Absolutely.
Right. Our market is so lucky to be located in the Scranton area because we have a great customer base from Lackawanna, Wayne County,
Probably Luzerne as well.
Luzerne
Yeah,
County.
Yeah.
And they're very loyal to us. They wait for us to open. They know that our produce is fresh, and we pride ourselves in having that homegrown to the farm,
Sure.
to you. And it is a nice asset for the people, but also for the farmers.
It's not a
involved.
fledgling operation. Let's face it, you get a lot of great press when it opens in the middle of the year and when it closes. So you get a
Right.
lot of great television and media press on it,
Yeah,
too.
on our opening night, it was funny on the local news. They said that the biggest 2 things happening was Novena.
That's right,
and the
and the
opening of the
farmers market.
farmers
I saw the
market,
same
which
report.
made us feel good.
Absolutely.
It's true,
It is
though.
true.
It
Media.
is true.
It's all media.
Yeah.
And we have, even today, it's, you know, we have a lot of people that are eating fresh from the farm. The processed food has not taken a back seat, but it's
Well, maybe it has.
Maybe it
It's-
has. It's all
there's a lot
organic.
of
Organic
health
is the word.
conscious people out there.
Sure.
And as long as we can provide that product for them for 5 months a year, I mean, we're happy to do that. But it is a good market. And in this area, we have an abundance of these markets. I mean, we just are, I think, unique in the fact that we own it and we provide those 3 days of product, you know. But
So
it's
if you're a member of the Scranton Farmers Market, you commit to being there those 3 days.
right.
Now, that's actually a very good thing. You know,
It is a
as
good
a
thing.
customer, what you're going
Yeah.
to find.
When we have an opening like we did this year, it's hard to find someone that will commit to the 3 days.
That's the problem.
They're
It's
farming
tough to
3 or
commit.
4 acres. They're willing to go 1 day a week. It's hard to load that truck
Well, as you
for
say,
3
yeah.
days and make it profitable.
Yeah. Now, I had mentioned when you visited us last year, it's a program that's been on for a few years, but not terribly long, the voucher program, which is a program where primarily seniors can qualify for 3 $5 food vouchers that can be used with some restrictions as to what can be bought
It's a state
at the farmer's
deal.
market.
Yeah.
Right. Now, how has that worked out for the consumer? How has it worked out for the farmer?
It's a great program for us because it provides us that other customer base that takes the incentive to get these vouchers. and especially the senior citizens who appreciate them, I think, so much.
They're on
and
fixed
use them.
income, yeah.
And the WIC program, which was originally for women, infants, and children, for younger families that had children, so that they would buy healthy product for their family. It evolved into providing for the seniors now, and it's just a great thing, and I'm so glad that the state provides it.
Is it utilized a lot at the market?
Yes, yes, and a lot of the other markets have advantage to it.
That's a good thing.
And the most things that you would find at our market can be used, the vouchers can be used for that.
It's primarily fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, processed things, they call apple cider processed, you cannot
Right.
do that.
Right.
A Halloween pumpkin, you're not supposed to use it. If you are buying a sugar pumpkin or a pie pumpkin,
Right.
you can use it for that.
Okay. And they're $5 increments. You get 3 of them, and you don't get change from them. So but
Still, that's regarded as a guaranteed sale when you get something like that.
And you know what? If in my experience, if the bill comes to $4.75,
You'll
the
get
farmer's going
something
to say,
else.
throw in another coop.
Absolutely,
for
to make
that.
it
Yeah, we
correct.
usually, especially with the older people that, I should talk, but the older people that use it, it's $1 for this or $2.
Right.
Right now, for them to use the $5, it's hard, and I encourage them to wait. I had a lady the other day that wanted a zucchini squash and a quart of beans, but she couldn't fill the $5. I said, why don't you just go to the fruit stand, buy some nice peaches, or go to someone with corn or tomatoes and use that. And in a couple of weeks when things are more abundant, they'll be able to use them. And they appreciate that. But if
Sure.
you have a $4 sale and you throw an extra squash in or another ear or two of corn.
Balance it out, yeah. Looks like we're losing your mic there. Just pin it right up there. Because we've got to be able to hear you.
Yeah.
This is very important.
Okay.
Very important information. Now, as it happens, this year has seen tremendous rain. I don't know if we've outdone last year or not, Rusty.
We have by 4 inches so far.
Okay, plus a heat spell.
Yeah.
Just
And don't forget,
couple
last
weeks
year
back.
was the wettest year ever, and then we've already outdone that.
We've already beat that.
So whether we level out or not is yet to be, but so far we're ahead of the game here.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
again, 2 weeks ago, we had a heat wave.
Right.
3 days of 90 degrees plus. So I got to ask, how have you guys been hit by this weather?
We're in that temperate zone forever in northeastern Pennsylvania, so my father and grandfather always said, we'll tell you in November how the year
Yep,
was.
how it all
And
shakes out.
Last year was not a disaster, but it was a tough year because of the water. This year has started out the same way, but the spring was awful to get things planted.
Well, now extra water affects things, like tomatoes primarily, or?
Well, tomatoes, it depends on when you get it.
Okay.
For us this year, it was trying to get ground ready to get things planted.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
the
you were
tough
hit in the
part,
beginning.
yeah.
May and
Plowing
June,
in
April.
mud is tough.
Yeah,
That's
you
the
cannot
problem.
plow wet
Yeah.
ground. It gets too hard because your biggest fear is that when you work it up, sure enough, it will become dry for 3 weeks and then it gets like a parking lot. And the roots of the plants cannot, they're all rooted within an inch or two, and then you need rain. It's one of those crazy cycles that you have to do. So this year, although we've had an abundance of rain, in June and July so far, it sort of normalized itself. And the heat, although we didn't like it, really did help.
It helped?
It helped because a lot of us, I personally, well, I've had showers lately, but some of the members have had nice rains that kept the plants growing. And they do like the heat to get things caught up. So right now, as compared to last year, which was not my favorite year, it looks like we're heading towards hopefully a normal, productive year. Our things are late. Winter
I was
squash.
just going to say now, what timing then becomes a key on what you get and when you get
Right.
it.
My winter squash, I lost the first planting because of the weather, but I got a second planting which looks real good, and it did on the calendar have enough time to grow. I mean, I have my 100 days till the middle of October, and hopefully we don't get some kind of killing frost in September, which we usually don't. I have dry ground on some of the parts of the farm where I can grow potatoes, and they're doing well. Excuse me, sweet corn, for some reason, on the varieties that we grow, it's doing okay. It's a bit late, but things are, compared to last year, because last year we had rain all year.
So last year, did you just lose crops, or you
I
had
lost,
smaller quantities, or?
Less quantity, and I did lose crops. And then, of course, we always are fighting the varmints out there, the
Oh,
deer
yeah.
and the woodchucks,
Yeah.
and they just have a ball with things. But
Yeah.
that's part of the deal too. But right now, the
Although
weather-
I think that's become even a bigger problem because we're now seeing them invading the urban areas.
right.
Extends a lot more than they
Yeah.
used to.
That's right.
I believe it or not, I believe, and if you didn't see it, I had a squirrel come on our porch. I have a bag of bird feed there, and I came on the porch and noticed a whole mess of things knocked down, and then saw the bag kind of eaten into a little bit.
It's overpopulation even with the animals. you know.
Even with the animals, I walked out one day, Rusty, and we had a bird feeder hanging about 6 feet to my left, and I walked out the door this way and went very quickly back in because the bear was already up at the
How
bird
about
feeder.
that?
And I decided it was not time to meet him. The funny thing about the squirrel was my wife, being more, a lot smarter than I, took a can. Like a popcorn can, and put the remaining feet in there and then put the top on. Next day we found the can on its side with the lid off and some feet out and little scratch marks on top. The darn thing opened the can.
Oh,
yeah, they're
Now that's just my
smell
little
and
home
get to that.
situation. You've
Yeah.
got acres and acres
Right.
to what?
The-
And you stand there with a shotgun or what?
well, the deer are a problem. The Game Commission is very good with us. If we have damage, we can kill a deer if we have to, but it's something we don't want to do.
No.
A lot of the farmers are putting up fences. There are some deterrents. I don't want to call them chemical. They're more organic, but that will
But if
work.
something's destroying your crops, you got to do something
Absolutely.
about it.
That's my livelihood.
But this year they seem to be behaving. It's funny. But when it rains and that thing freshens up, that's the night you have to go out at midnight with the light and chase them around.
I think the 30-year cycle, I think, is the worst enemy of the farmer these days with this 30-year run. Now, a mere 25 years ago, you got snow in early October and for Halloween. Now it doesn't snow until January, but it still snows in the middle of May.
Yeah.
So I think that shortens your season a lot, too, with the shift ahead.
Yeah, the weather has been a little crazy.
So would you say there's global warming?
No,
No?
personally, no. I mean, I
Okay.
think
What's your take on it?
it's weather. It's weather.
Gonna come and go as it
come
will.
and go. I mean, the 60s was dry as a bone. That's when a lot of the dairymen had to go out because
Yeah,
they couldn't
yeah.
make hay. 70s and 80s were fair. 90s and the beginning of this century have been a little erratic. I hate
it's a
to say
cycle.
that global warming doesn't exist. I can't believe that billions of people aren't affecting the planet.
Absolutely.
But the weather and the size of us, the planet, is just so great that I think that if we historically look back, this has happened over and over again.
It has. I think climate change is a better word,
yeah.
is which we're switching to, but global warming is real. I mean, for the first time since they've been keeping records since the Civil War, the ocean temperature has gone up 2 degrees. That's, you say 2 degrees, who cares? Well, in 150
Well, if-
years, 2 degrees is a lot to go up.
And the thing that my argument falls apart is the polar ice caps.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
Which we can't deny that they are shrinking.
Look at
But
Antarctica. There's a section that just broke off 3 weeks ago, the size of Manhattan, heading toward Australia. The
Wow.
size of Manhattan. 30 miles by 3 across, heading toward Australia. Now, whether the warm Gulf Stream waters will start to eradicate some of that in transit or not, but the size of Manhattan coming from something that's 100 million years old off Antarctica, you have to look at this.
St. Lawrence Seaway's been up 3 feet above normal.
There you have it. I see. These are facts.
But I look at the oil up on the slopes of Alaska, and that would only have been there if that wasn't an open ocean at one time. So I don't know. It's a hard call. In a lifetime, it's hard to tell what's going to happen.
Sure. So we would rather know what's going to happen at the market, the farmer's market, specifically the Scranton one we're talking about right now. With an expected decent crop, albeit some things coming in a tiny bit late, what are we going to be able to look for as consumers generally with regard to pricing this year?
Our pricing tends to stay pretty much the same. I would say to a point about my members would probably have a fit. 5 to 7 years, and then we have to do something.
Okay.
So I don't look for any big drastic change this year. I mean, sweet corn at our market is averaging $6 a dozen.
Okay.
That's 50 cents an ear.
Yeah.
And
That's pretty good.
That is a good, if I go to the store, I get a Hershey bar for $1 something, and it's gone before I get
That's
out
incredible.
to my vehicle.
6 or 7 years for prices being stabilized. That's a great thing.
We're
Now,
getting,
tomatoes may be up because they're running a little late, or what?
no, I think you're going to see the pricing pretty much the same.
Oh, that's good.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't see anything, unless there's a disaster, a hailstorm, or a flood.
Or unless it rains from now until
Yeah,
September
and-
again, only the future
And
will hold.
our customer base is used to the fact that it comes from our farm to them. So 2 or 3 middlemen in between to get their slice of the pie.
That's a big difference.
Really isn't in their sights.
Right.
But they do allow us to get a pretty fair price as opposed to the store because it's fresh and because we're the farmer.
And it's direct from farm to the
Right.
consumer.
And
Can't beat it.
No.
Can't beat it. Freshness, and I think price, as you say, going to be reasonable. That's good. Clay, we're out of time. I thank you so
Thanks,
much
Clay.
for coming to talk to us about the Scranton Farmers Market, and farmers markets in general as well. Rusty, thank you.
Good to see you, Dave. See you next
And
week.
Mark McGlory
Thank you,
behind
Mark.
the camera, thank you as well. I'm David DeCosmo. So we see you again next time on ECTV Live. Here's hoping all your news is good.